Welcome everyone to another exciting episode of Saddle Up. I am Cactus J, your host for this evening, and with me always is Gene, the singing cowboy.
How y'all doing?
All doing good. And rounding up our posse tonight is Bad News Brian and Longhorn Lance. How y'all doing tonight, guys?
It's going great.
Good.
Yeehaw!
Yeehaw! Philly is not joining us tonight because he is crying in his pillow as his Cowboys are getting their asses handed to him by the Rams. So
That
I'm gonna,
sounded bad on so many levels.
Yeah, it did.
and if the Cowboys pull it out, I know I am going to eat so much shit. So, all right, well let's kind of get into it. Let's see what kind of news you have for us, Gene.
Okay, the true history of the Kelly gang has been announced. This is going to focus on the story on the rise and fall of Australian outlaw Ned Kelly, who vowed vengeance on the British Empire. George Mackay of Kingsman fame will be starring at the title character with Russell Crowe and Nicholas Hoult starring as well. There's no release date set though yet. Mel Gibson set to direct the upcoming remake of The Wild Bunch. That sounds cool. Mel Gibson is co-writing, but
Yeah.
no news whether he will play a role in the film. No dates on the product or release date is set.
What's
Another,
the Wild Bunch?
yeah,
Wild Bunch. Huh? So Mel Gibson.
yeah,
Mel Gibson is redoing this. Man, we're doing. I guess we're running out of ideas for new westerns, right? I mean, you can only do so many stories. That's why there's so
Yeah.
yes.
many remakes.
It says he's directing it and he's co-writing it, but he doesn't say whether he's going to play a role in the movie.
Now, if I
I don't think
remember,
you will.
well, the Wild Bunch wasn't it like a bunch of cowboys past their prime or gunfighters past their prime and all that?
I think it had Lee Marvin in it. I know that.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, it's
Okay,
a possibility he could. I mean, he would
right.
unless he's too old.
I think there was a bunch of criticism about it at the time because of the violence for the time was pretty extreme.
Hmm. All
Well,
right.
it could be. So are you guys saying that this could be like a westerns version of the Expendables with with Mel Gibson at
Um,
the helm?
I'm down for that. You know what? I don't think there's a Mel Gibson directed movie that I have not liked. You know what I mean? I mean, I've
yeah,
liked them
Yeah.
all. I mean, yeah. So I'm all on board. Hey, if Mel Gibson's doing it, I'm all on board.
yep.
Brian? What do you think, man?
I'm with Jay. Is if he's directing and co-writing, then I'm all in too. I really don't think he'll be in it. I think he's
Mm,
kind of settling in that role of directing.
Right.
yeah,
So
yeah,
sounds
Yeah.
promising.
yeah. Sure does.
So did you guys see Apocalypto?
Oh
I
Yeah, that
yeah,
was
did.
great.
That was
Yeah, I
yeah,
loved
awesome,
it.
huh?
yeah.
Loved
I
it.
loved it. I mean, I even like Passion of the Christ. I mean, I
I
I
did
thought it
too.
was a
Hmm.
fantastic
Hmm.
movie. I'm not a religious dude, but
Right.
shit, it was fantastically done.
Yep.
Hmm. Well, I got a lot of faith in him. I'm looking forward to seeing how this goes. But let's circle back, guys, before we move on. If you guys don't mind, I want to hear more about this other
Yeah.
movie that's coming out with Russell Crowe and Nicholas Holt is that was the Beast from the X-Men movies, right?
Yes, it was. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Oh, yeah, she is.
I don't know.
So yeah, he's a rising star right now. What's this movie supposed to be about? Is it an Australian film?
It is an Australian film. Yeah, Ned Kelly was he was an Australian guy way back in the day when British was ruling Australia, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you just had some, police, the local police and all that. They're just basically assholes doing anything they wanted. And there was some altercation where some of his family members were killed. It might be his wife or mom or some shit like that. So he basically had to basically we're just talking about Mel Gibson, kind of like William Wallace. He was done with the fucking British rule or whatever, and he just took up arms and just started to
I'm
fight them.
pretty sure that there was a movie done called Ned Kelly that had Heath Ledger in
Yeah.
it.
No
Really?
kidding.
Hmm.
Yes.
That
I'd have
that
to
would be
look back on
that
it,
would be
but I'm
worth a
pretty sure.
watch.
Yeah.
That might make sense. I mean, what he was Australian, right?
Yes.
Right.
Sounds interesting. So,
Well, you're not thinking of
um,
Brokeback Mountain, are you, Gene?
No, no,
Okay.
I never saw that one.
Just
actually, no, he's right, guys. Ned Kelly. It was, yeah, Heath Ledger and Orlando Bloom.
Orlando
Uh,
Bloom. All
yeah, but
right.
Yeah.
get this. Here's the rest of the cast.
Oh, shit.
Jeffrey Rush, Naomi Watts, Joel Egerton, and the list kind
Wow.
of continues from there.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's Emily Browning. She's a hottie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. I'll have to go check that out. Nice.
Yep.
I wouldn't consider it a western, but I guess they'll give a western twist to it, huh?
Yeah, I mean it was what 1800s, well early 1800s. So that's or no, was it early 1800s?
Or early 1900s.
Early 9 I'm sorry, you're right. I had it backwards. Early 1900s. Yeah, so I mean it's at the end of the western, so you know,
Right.
it should work.
Interesting. All right.
All
Sounds
right.
like a couple of movies we're gonna give a try to, Gene.
Yep.
Yep.
Another upcoming one with a lot of detail on dates is with not a lot of detail on dates is Far Bright Star. The movie follows the story of a cavalryman who in 1916, while leading a group, tries to hunt down Pancho Villa. Joaquin Phoenix is set to star in that. Now that sounds pretty awesome.
That
Wow.
does.
Okay.
That
Yeah.
does. Yeah.
Well,
And
they'll get Mel's attention.
yeah,
Yeah.
a,
That's right.
a movie we mentioned on a previous episode, The Kid, is now in post production. No release date yet. The movie stars three actors that are in one of the movies that we are reviewing tonight: Vincent D'Onofrio, Ethan Hawke, and Chris Pratt. And of
What?
course, Lance's favorite, Dane DeHaan.
Oh man, I've already
Uh,
I've already bought my ticket, guaranteed.
Yeah,
When does this come out? Any idea?
I don't know. It just says post production.
it's
You
supposed to be coming out mid this year, I believe.
cool.
Yeah, and I think Dane DeHaan is playing Billy the Kid. So there you go.
I'm all
oh
in.
man,
Yeah.
Brian, what's wrong, Brian?
I don't know about that guy.
Huh?
No, I think he's perfect for Billy the Kid. Perfect. No, I'm kidding.
We shall see.
Well,
Yeah.
it looks like we're gonna have to do a Young Guns and a The Kid episode
Oh,
later in
I'm
the
in.
year.
That
There
would
you
Yeah,
be
go.
awesome.
I'm in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you got
He may just surprise everybody and just really knock it out of the park. You never
yeah,
know.
you never know.
Yeah.
And I was reading about this. Sounds like it's about the movie's about a kid. When they say the kid is, I don't think they
Right.
mean Billy the Kid. It's actually about a kid who witnesses the events between Billy the Kid and the sheriff. Ah, god damn it! Now I'm drawing a complete blank of what his name was. Garrett.
Pat Garrett.
Pat Garrett. Yeah. So I think it's going to
Wow.
be from that kid's point of view, and the kid is going to be the main focus point. So you may not get a lot of Billy the Kid with Dane DeHaan.
Okay, that's
Yep.
probably for the best.
Oh, Vincent D'Onofrio's directing.
Yes, I think he wrote it or co-wrote it or something like that. But yeah, he's directing.
What? The
I
Yeah,
think
Kingpin
Vincent
himself, huh?
D'Onofrio's getting really big into directing now.
Is he
Okay.
really?
Yeah. I think he's directed a few.
Well,
nice.
I'll give it a shot. I mean, it's got a great cast. All Dane DeHaan has to do is just kind of like be there and
Mhm.
let everyone around him act, and it should be a good movie.
I'd like to see how he does Billy the Kid because I mean when I was
Yeah.
younger, I used to read a lot about the Old West and Billy the Kid, and
Sure.
although Young Guns and Young Guns 2 gets a lot of shit, I think Emilio Estevez did
Right.
a fantastic job of portraying Billy the Kid. But everything I read about Billy the Kid is he was always laughing and joking, and everything was just funny to him. Whether he was killing somebody or he was just doing mean shit or whatever, he seemed to always be having a good time. And Emilio Estevez really knocked it out because he was always laughing and always cracking jokes and shit. A
Yeah.
lot of
Right.
people, they don't need that in a Western, but he was doing what the real Billy the Kid was doing. So I like to see, can you see Dane DeHaan in a role where he's always cracking jokes and being funny and whatever?
I
Or
don't know.
Yeah. So it's.
I could hear him doing Keanu maybe, but channeling Keanu.
So I don't know if he's gonna play it serious. It may work for folks who just don't know the real, the real story of Billy the Kid, and it's like, oh,
True.
so who knows? We'll see though. We'll see.
All right, remains to be seen. We'll be
All right.
there.
Yeah. Well, you guys, any guys? I mean, let's. You guys have any like cools of the week, not cools of the week? Anything you guys want to talk about before we get into the movies?
It's not horror or it's not Western related, but I did
Ah,
just
don't worry.
subscribe to Shudder today.
Oh, cool.
Oh,
So I'm gonna
nice.
start watching some of those.
So a lot of good stuff on there.
Oh yeah, it looked like it. Looked like there's a lot. And for $5, I mean you can't go wrong.
Hmm.
That's a bargain.
I'll
Yeah.
get on that. Yeah.
Well, I know Brian's got some stuff to talk about because he's always got 12 or 13 different movies on Cool of the Week on the regular show.
Not actually, no, not a whole lot this week. I did purchase. I think you and me were talking about it on through the message feed. I just picked up Bad Times at the El Royale.
Ooh, nice.
Nice.
That I was telling Lance. It probably should have been in my top 10. It
Yes.
probably
Mhm.
should have been in there.
Definitely,
So
definitely.
I'm kind of regretting not putting it in there. So, it holds up on a rewatch too.
Hey,
Oh,
you know what I really
nice.
liked about that movie? I looked at the trailers. I'm like, man, this looks like I'm gonna have a good time, a fun time, and fuck sure as if I didn't. Watched it, came out completely satisfied. So that's
Yeah.
always a bonus.
You know, this really sucks. Where I moved, we have one movie theater.
Oh wow.
And it's
Oh
at the
wow.
it's at the casino. It sucks. I have to travel 30 miles if I want to go to another theater. Yeah, it's at an Indian casino called the Wild
Oh
Horse
man.
Resort and Casino. That's the only movie theater we have.
Right.
Wow.
So since I've moved, I've the only movies I've seen there have been on Wednesdays, and they've been the older movies.
Okay.
But I miss going to the movies.
And it's not worth driving 30 miles, right?
Well, it's quite a while, quite a ways, but I think I'm going to start doing it.
Yeah, all right.
But I'm in Oregon, so I'd have to drive to Hermiston, Oregon, in order to find more than one movie theater. You know.
Well, that's crazy. Yeah. All right. Anybody else?
Yeah, I didn't really watch a whole lot of westerns this week other than these two.
Yeah.
I will say this on our regular show. I'll probably bring this up as Cool of the Week, but Brian, I think you saw this. Well, this one might have almost made top 10 if I had seen it last year. Assassination Nation.
Uh,
Not so
I,
much.
I mean, I don't know.
Well,
It started out promising. I thought it was
yeah.
a lot of build up to nothing at the end.
Agreed. But the filming, you got to admit that that it was filmed beautifully.
Oh,
There were some great
absolutely.
shots in it. But the ending, I mean, you guys say Bad Times at the El Royale rips off Quentin Tarantino. Dude, this last third of this movie was basically what Kill Bill and what was the Tarantino movie in Grindhouse with the Kurt Russell in it?
Oh, plant. Death Proof.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's basically Death Proof and Kill Bill rolled together, right? At the end.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah,
It's all right though. It's a good movie. It's beautiful to watch.
has
You know,
a nice young
Um,
cast in it. So.
Oh, and hey, friend of the show, Jeff Pope is in it. He plays Chubbs from Hap and Leonard.
oh, nice.
Yeah, he plays a sadistic cop, asshole cop.
Nice. Nice.
Pretty good. It's worth the watch, right, Brian?
Yeah, I would say it's worth the watch. It just for me the end, it kind of built up to something that I wanted to happen at the end, and it just kind of went a different direction. But I think it's still worth the
Agreed.
watch.
Yep, agreed.
Well, you know what? Speaking of not liking the ends, on the last horror return show I was on with you guys, we did best and worst of, and you all talked up Bird Box, and I hadn't seen it. So
Uh-huh.
I did watch Bird Box a few days ago, and shit, man,
Okay.
that was a fantastic movie until the end.
Oh
That's what I'm
no.
hearing.
Hated the end. I hated the end. Oh my god, that was so stupid.
I'm
Just
hearing a lot of mixed stuff
oh,
on that movie. Some people
it's
love it, and some people hate it.
I don't it and it's not the ending how where they go and all that. It's just the
Right.
interaction between Sandra Bullock and the kids. it's like, I mean, I don't know if I'm spoiling anything. Okay, now your name is so and so, and now your name, and they're like, oh, it's like that.
Yeah.
If they would have left that one part out,
Mm-hmm.
it would have been fine. Just I was so disappointed when that happened. I was like, ah, I don't care if it ends different from the book, whatever, just that one thing. But
Right.
I just had to
Well,
throw that 2 cents in.
well, I'm reading the book, so I'll let you know if it goes into any better ending.
All right. Well, I'm going to get into my cool and not too cool, and they're definitely not Western related. First, my not cool of the week, Lance, you can appreciate that. It's a Star Trek thing. So
Oh no!
I started to get into Voyager. I really haven't watched that show
Oh
before.
no!
Oh my god,
Come
dude.
on,
Now
dude!
I know why I didn't. I stopped watching that shit. It
Oh
kind of
no!
it really I think I'm in like about 4 or 5 episodes into season 4, right? So this is more on par with the original series, where the original series started off pretty good and it just started to
Mm-hmm.
take a dive, right?
Uh-oh!
And this show starts off mediocre and it just takes a dive.
Oh no!
It's bad. I'm
How
gonna finish it. I'm gonna
how
finish it.
far are you in?
About 5 episodes maybe into the season 4.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Oh
Oh my god.
man,
This
you're killing me.
7 of 5, 702, whatever the fuck her name is. One of
Yeah.
the worst written characters. Oh, it's just nothing on the actress or whatever. It's just poorly written. But I'm barely into it, so we'll get out there. My cool of the week is I was at a used bookstore with my daughters and stuff, and I came across a book on tape or book on CD, Stephen King on writing. I'm having a fucking
Oh
fun.
yeah, I've
Oh
read that.
wow.
I'm having a fun time with this. I got up to a point. I mean, it's like 8 hours long, right? And
Yep.
before I know it, I'm like 4 hours into it. I'm like, holy shit, I'm like 4 hours in. And now it's up to a point where he's going to give you a scenario. He goes, okay, I'm going to give you a scenario and then I want you to write so this many pages. And I'm driving
Yep.
like, oh shit, I got to turn this off because I want to go home and listen to it and start writing it. But yeah, I'm having a good time with that.
Cool. Has he gotten into
Nice.
his talking about his cocaine days yet?
He did. Yeah, the first kind of part of it, he just kind of gives his brief life story
Mm-hmm.
and then he dives into his ideas of how you should write and what he likes, what he doesn't, and and things that new writers can look out for and all that. So first part is he's just telling his story. Now he's kind of giving advice on his aspect of it, and he's pretty good at saying, I'm not the best. My way might not work for you, but don't use adverbs all the time. Don't do this all
Right.
the
Right.
time. So yeah, it's very very interesting. So I'm looking forward to finishing it.
Cool.
All right, well, let's go ahead and get into it, guys. So we're doing the Magnificent Sevens. We're doing the original from
Nice.
1960, and we're going to take a look at the 2016 remake, because as we all know, the original is a remake of a Japanese samurai film. So let's start with Magnum. So what we'll do is I'll go into trivia from both of them, and then we'll look at some comparisons. Lead versus lead, team versus team, and I like to get some comparisons of the 7 from the 60 version and see who kind of lines up. Who was basically the same character from 16? Because essentially
Okay.
they're different characters, different names, different everything.
Yep.
But
Mm-hmm.
which ones really mirror each other? So let's get into trivia, and then we'll just dive right into it. So Magnificent 7, 1960. Director John Sturges, also known for The Great Escape, Steve McQueen, and Gunfight at the OK Corral. His final directing credit was The Eagle Has Landed with John Wayne back in 1976. We lost John in 1992 at the ripe age of 82. The writer is William Roberts, who also wrote Brian's favorite Wayans movie of all time, Major Payne. This movie, as most people know, is a remake of the classic 1954, The Seven Samurai. Yul Brynner had a major say in casting directions, including the decision to cast Steve McQueen. He specifically requested that McQueen play Vin Tanner. Brynner later regretted the move since he and McQueen developed a disastrous relationship on
Oh
the
no.
set. Oh yeah, these
Yeah.
guys not stand each other.
Well, I'd
But
heard Steve McQueen was kind of a dick to work with, though. So that's what I've
I've
heard.
heard that as well. I've heard that as
Well,
well. And I've also heard Yul Brynner didn't like him trying to upstage him all the time.
Mhm.
that's never good.
Yeah, I mean, there's actually this one thing that where Steve McQueen kept taking his hat off or something, and then Yul Brynner just didn't like for him taking his hat off. He said, "You stop taking your hat off, or I'm going to not wear my hat. Then everybody's just going to look at me and not you." I guess because of his bald head or whatever.
Hmm.
Whatever. Although the film received only mixed reviews, John Sturges gave a rave about one source that really mattered to him. After seeing the picture, Akira Kurosawa was so impressed, he sent the American director a ceremonial sword as a gift. Now,
That's
Akira
awesome.
Holy
Kurosawa
shit!
is the director of the original Seven Samurai. That's awesome, man. That's
Right.
really good. That's awesome.
That's impressive.
Steve McQueen, James Coburn, and Charles Bronson all appeared together in John Sturges' next film, The Great Escape, from 1963.
Okay.
That film was just released in Germany while the next film was being filmed, and it was such a big hit that they were always besieged by all these people wanting their autographs and shit. So I mean that's really cool because we were just talking about the kid that had three actors from the Magnificent 16, and now another one with the three of these guys in the next film, Great Escape. So I don't just weird numbers. Magnificent Seven, 2016, director Antoine Fuqua. Fuqua. Man, I just love saying Fuqua, don't you?
Wow.
It sounds like remember the old Batman stories where they would like punch, bow, biff. It's like if he had like a
Oh yeah, of
if he had
course.
a kung fu like move, it would just be like Fuqua. I don't
Yeah. Or it sounds like
He's
in karate or something. That
know. Fuqua. Now
he's directed a lot of movies, guys.
yes.
he has, including Training Day and both Equalizer 1 and 2. So this guy loves him some Denzel, and who wouldn't, honestly? Uh, Screenwriters were Nick Pizzolatto and Richard Wank. I don't know much about them, so we'll move on to some trivia. Denzel Washington and Chris Pratt were the first two actors cast. Anton Fuqua knew that both men had expressed.
He needs to do a kung fu movie next.
Oh, he has to. He has to. And I'm saying his name like that every time. He had expressed interest in appearing in a Western. Getting Washington was easy, of course, because he's directed half his films
Mhm.
but Fuqua initially was unsure which role Pratt would fit. On the second phone call between Fuqua and Pratt, the latter started to sing "Oh Shenandoah," which the director immediately declared that Pratt is Steve McQueen. Now, once we get
Ah,
into
okay.
Mirror, let's see how many of us agree on that one. Tom Cruise was previously in talks to star in this
Ugh,
movie. I got to tell you, I like Tom Cruise, but
not in this.
I'm glad he wasn't in this movie.
Right.
Yep.
I really do. I really do. Um, Composer James Horner, another Star Trek call out.
Yep.
This is his final film that he composed before he passed.
Wow.
Hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Trivia aside, let's get into the guts of it. So I'd like to. So it's you got seven guys on each side, right?
Mm-hmm.
For me, there was two obvious mirrors of each other. You had Yul Brynner as the lead, the man all dressed in black, and in the new one, you had Denzel Washington, completely different name, the man all dressed in black, clearly the leaders. Those guys mirror each other.
Right.
Now, I also noticed James Coburn was basically the master, as in the samurai, because he was the master with the
Okay,
knives.
the knives. Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
Yes.
pretty quick from the gun.
Mm-hmm.
And how do you say his name? Byung Hun Lee.
I'll go
Billy.
with that.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh, he's a Korean actor. He's been in a shitload of great movies, right, Brian?
Yeah, he's been in let me see, Inside Man. I Saw the Devil.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's
I
been in
saw the
quite a
Devil,
few.
man.
Yeah.
That
That's
movie was
you guys
awesome.
seen
Yeah.
that? It's on
Oh yeah.
Netflix.
no.
Mhm.
Oh, you talked about it, right, Gene?
Yeah, I've talked about it on my channel. It's an amazing movie.
Yeah, it's basically a serious revenge movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
The only ever movie I really remember him from, and these were shitty movies, but I think he did a good job. He was Storm Shadow in GI Joe movies.
Oh,
He
Oh.
sure was.
Yes, yes. Now who his name is Billy Rocks in this movie. I say he's the counterpart to James Coburn, who played Britt.
yeah.
Okay, so
That's
let's get
pretty
in.
straightforward,
Let's get in.
because of the
Do you guys
points.
agree on that?
I agree with
Disagree?
that. Yes, they both
Well,
have
Yes,
knives.
absolutely.
yeah, and
Lance?
I saw some pretty clear, like Ethan Hawke's character, Robichaux.
Yeah.
The way he kind of lost his nerve. I remember seeing that in the 1960 movie too, right?
He
Yeah,
reminded me of Robert Vaughn's character.
Robert
There,
Vaughn. That's
absolutely, absolutely,
yes.
yeah.
Yeah, Robert Vaughn, because he was even a little weirded out about shooting in the beginning too. It was like he just
Hmm.
he didn't want to do it, and he was just
Yep.
really weird about it. Cause and then remember he had that one dream or something. He
The
woke up and
Nightmare,
the
yes.
nightmare. Yeah,
Screaming
yeah,
and
Yes.
yeah. Like he was still in the war and stuff. So that kind of
Okay.
I agree with that. I'd say yeah that good night Robo-Show. Goody is what they called him.
yeah, but
Ethan Hawke.
I felt Ethan Hawke played that character with more charm though. His character
I
was more
think so.
charming.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely,
very much so.
definitely. What's Ethan Hawke? What are you gonna do,
What,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gene? What was it about Robert Vaughn's character that kind of rubbed you the wrong way, or you didn't think was as charming?
Uh, see, how can I explain it? Was Robert Vaughn is I
He's
don't want
real
to say,
suave. I mean, he's
yeah,
definitely a suave character, you know.
he is real suave, but I just like the way Ethan Hawke did it better. It was so much more believable to me.
Mm-hmm.
Robert Vaughn just reminds me every time I look at him, he reminds me of like somebody I wouldn't like.
But he always
Right.
plays those roles, though. I mean,
Yeah,
I
those
mean, that's
those
why he probably has that look.
sneaky scumbag type people.
He
But
he looks like a guest star on Fantasy Island that gets taught a lesson, right?
yes, yeah. But Ethan Hawke really got into that role. I think Ethan's from watching him in this movie, maybe he's a little bit more method.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, Gene. I think, but Hawk got so much role and so much to chew with. Robert Vaughn
Yeah.
was kind of a backseat character, and he didn't really.
Yes.
Yeah.
He got that one scene where he woke up from his dream, and that's about all you got from him. So,
Yeah,
um,
every other scene he's like hiding over in the corner or up
yeah,
against the building and trying to stay
yeah.
safe.
And that's kind of what the original did. It kind of focused on Yul Brynner, Steve McQueen, and the guy
Mhm.
who played the young kid Chico. I mean, those were kind of like the
Right.
main
The
three.
crazy kid.
Yeah, yeah. And the new movie, I mean, of course, it's going to focus on Pratt, Ethan, and Denzel
Yeah.
for more. But I think everybody else got just enough screen time
Hmm.
to equal what you had to do against the powerhouse of that movie. A lot more than what the side characters got in the original.
Well, I guess I would put Pratt next to the. I would think he would be more like the young kid, out of the batch.
Hmm.
He's a little bit crazy. The chicks kind of dig him. He's kind of
But
cool, but kind of dangerous.
You know
but
what?
Pratt's character was more skilled, I think, than the young kid.
You
I
know
I,
what? That's true. That's true too.
I
That was
Yeah,
a
put
big
I
hit
put
right
him
there.
more like the Steve McQueen.
Oh,
I think
okay.
that's
I
what
I think you got me there.
I don't know. He's had more personality than Steve McQueen in that
Yeah,
role. So
that's
I don't
true.
know if I can compare. Because I like the line he dropped when they were about to have that first gunfight, and he
Hmm.
told you're about to be killed by the world's greatest lover.
Yeah.
I don't see Steve McQueen dropping that line in the
no,
original.
no. You know who I saw Pratt was? I saw he was a little bit of the Steve McQueen Vin, but I also saw
Okay.
him. He was a little bit of the guy Luck, um, which
Ah,
was
all right.
um, which was Yul Brynner's Chris is a guy he
Okay.
played, right? Remember when he met
Yeah.
the first guy that he basically recruited besides Steve McQueen, which was his longtime friend. He was
Okay.
kind of remember he was always out for the gold. He said, there's a big score coming, and then in his death scene, you'll run out of lie to
Oh,
him and say, you know what?
yeah.
Yes, there was all this gold. I kind of saw Pratt as a little mixture of both of those
Okay.
guys going to that.
Yeah,
Now,
Luck. He
Yeah,
was
that's
kind of
true.
like the. I love gold.
And then, but the same thing with Luck on Goodnight Robo Show, because Luck abandoned, it, but then came back at
Hmm.
the end, and that's
Oh well, there's the parallel there.
yeah, and that's where
Yeah.
you had Goodnight Robo Show. Ethan Hawke had a little bit of Luck as well, and I
Oh, of course.
see it's a little mixture. I mean, there was only really two clean cut guys. Okay, so what about Vincent D. Ono?
D'Onofrio?
I call him Ono Frio, the cold
I,
one.
I call, I call him the kingpin.
I'd,
Yeah, I
s-
go with the Kingpin.
I'd say he's more along the lines of Charles Bronson's character.
I'm
Right.
I'm with you on that, Gene.
Yeah.
How did you guys like the way he portrayed just that weird that weird voice he
The
had?
voice at the beginning, you know what? At the very beginning of the movie, it didn't take me till there was 45 minutes of the movie left to realize that was Vincent D'Onofrio.
Right?
I knew
Yeah.
he was in the movie. I remember reading it beforehand, but I didn't recognize him.
You know what? You are not the first person to say that to me,
Okay.
Jane. Yeah, I was like, he was in that movie. He's like, yeah, he was the big bear guy. That was him. It's like, oh wow.
Yeah, at first his voice was really high pitched and everything like that, but it changed later on during the movie too.
You
Maybe
know,
it was just excitement.
Brian, how did you like how he portrayed that character, Jack Horn?
Oh, I like the dynamic of how he was. You can tell he's a very religious guy, but when it came to get the job done, he was also very vicious. I mean, he
Yes.
with the hatchet, and when he stabs somebody, he just doesn't stab somebody. He turns that blade to make sure they're dead.
Hmm.
And I liked his. I don't know. I think it was the way he did the voice too. It kind of made me like his character more. And that whole scene at the when they were eating dinner, and Chris Pratt's saying his guns are named after women, and he was like basically
Yeah,
women and guns don't mix. That should be separate. I kind of like that little bit of his character that we got to see.
that was. I agree with you. And I know some folks before I talked about this movie, they had a problem with the way he talked. I was like, if it was somebody else, it probably would have seemed a little bit forced, but
Hmm.
he always kind of plays that weird character,
Mhm.
and that's just him as an actor, right? So I thought it
Yep.
worked perfectly for that actor to be that little weird. I mean, he was this giant of a man that everybody was kind of afraid of. Even Denzel was kind of like, calling him sir, and they had to, walk on eggshells around him.
Had
Uh,
respect for him.
yeah, but then when you hear him talk, you're like, oh, yeah, he doesn't sound so threatening. But I thought he did a great job of just playing that weird.
Oh, real quick, I'm pulling up. I was looking at some news. I just lost it. There it is. The actress from the original that played Petra.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
the
Was
one
Let's
who
see.
who got the kill.
the
Spoiler
one?
alert.
Rosenda Montrose.
Yeah, she
she
just
is
passed away
hot.
4 days ago.
Really?
What?
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
You're kidding.
No, I am not.
Oh man, that's not good, man. What?
Yeah,
Any idea what happened?
I did not read that far into it. Because it was going to lead into a question I was going to ask you guys.
Okay.
Of the original, did you feel like the little romantic situation going on with her and Chico, was that needed for this movie? Because it
No.
really kind of
No,
seemed out of place for me.
it
Yeah,
was
that was one of
very
my
out of place.
criticisms.
My whole character of the
What?
Chico was
It's
I had an
it's
issue with.
almost like they needed a romance story, right?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm sorry, didn't mean to interrupt, Jay.
No, no, go ahead. No, go for it. No,
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 I
you go,
agree with.
man.
I know,
That's all I was gonna say.
I agree with you. It's you don't always have to put a romance in a movie, and you didn't really get one for Magnificent Seven either. You figure something was going to probably happen with the widow and Chris Pratt or somebody, right? But it
Mhm.
never did, and I
Hmm.
loved
Nope.
it. I mean, you don't always need that romantic aspect of it. Yeah, but you're right, Brian. It was completely forced.
I think what they were trying to say with it is the young guy, the act Chico,
Hmm.
wasn't really meant for that type of life anyway. And so she
Ah,
basically, saved him from life of being a
yeah.
gunfighter and all that stuff. He wanted to stay there in the village and love his wife and raise his kids.
And that she kind of like brought him back because didn't he start off that he was actually a farmer? He was just like one of those guys in the village,
Right.
and he tried to get
Hmm.
away from that life and just kind of realized, nah, you actually belong here.
Yep.
Yep. Yep. Yep. Good call on that one. Now, what about Vasquez? Who would he compare to?
Good
That's
question.
That's a hard one.
that is. I mean, I don't think there's really anybody that he really kind of lines up with. I
Not
mean,
really.
no, no,
Hmm.
I couldn't really come up with anybody.
No, I can't really either.
Except for the fact that that the original one was in Mexico, and the new one was
That's
more of like a little town, almost kind of like Deadwood or something.
that's about it. And then you had Charles Bronson, who was like his mother was I think was maybe Mexican and his dad was Irish or some shit like that. And then at
Mm-hmm.
the end of the movie, he grew to accept his Mexican side. And then remember with the little kids, Bernardo, he said that you're damn right, because he didn't want anybody knowing his name. I mean, that's the closest you can come, but it's really,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think
Yeah.
Vasquez is kind of like his own new character.
Yep.
Oh, and now that brings us to Red Harvest.
Hmm.
Oh yeah. That's different. I mean that angle wasn't really even in the original.
You
They
know
they
what?
Red Harvest. What do you mean?
The
the
character Red
native.
Harvest. The
Oh,
was it the
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Comanche?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, the
Okay,
Comanche.
gotcha.
You know what? You know what? I actually saw a little bit. I saw a little bit of Vin in there, because
Yeah.
Vin was the quiet one. He was deadly, and I mean, he didn't really talk a lot,
Steve
right?
McQueen's character.
Steve McQueen's character. I saw a little bit of Vin in Red Harvest. If I had to compare him, that's the closest one I would probably come up with.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I can agree with that. And he's from Alaska, born and raised here.
There it is. So he's got Brian's vote
So
automatic.
he's
Yep.
got that going for him,
Yep.
All
which
right,
is nice.
let's get into some shootouts. All right, I think we're only going to come up with a couple of categories. Let's do the main lead, Yul Brynner versus Denzel. We'll do the bad
Oh,
guys, Eli Wallach versus Skarsgård. Both of them always play great villains. And then we'll just
oh
kind of
yeah.
like do the movie as a whole. How's that?
Cool.
That sounds good.
All right.
All right, so let's start off. Brian, why don't you start off with Yul Brynner versus Denzel Washington?
I think Denzel killed this role. Yul Brynner was very bland to me in this movie, and this was a first time watch for me, the original.
Yeah.
And I would have to say Denzel totally takes this one. He was a badass from start to finish. I never took him as this person that was just all about the money, all about trying to get that bounty. You could tell there was a good person in him.
Mm-hmm.
And Yul Brynner was just, I don't know, very. What he was in Westworld, right? The movie.
Mhm.
Yes.
He's almost
Basically,
robotic to me.
a
I don't
robotic
know.
version of this character. He was
Yeah.
wearing, I think he had the same outfit, actually.
So I would have to say Denzel.
I'm sorry.
All right.
When you laugh, Lance,
Not
it
a
makes me
robot.
laugh. So
Lance, what do you have?
Oh, my turn.
Yes.
Oh man, dude, I really wanted to say Yul Brynner because the original I have seen several times, and
Mm-hmm.
this was actually a first watch for me for the new one.
Okay.
And when I started watching the new one, I'm like, oh man, like I don't know, it was maybe like 10 or 15 minutes into it when they had the scene in the church when
Yeah.
Sarsgaard's character comes in there and he has the kid stick his hand in the jar of dust, and just like so menacing. And I'm like, oh, I'm gonna love this. This is gonna be cheesy fun. This is like the Fast and the Furious and the Wild Wild West. I can't wait. It's
Oh,
gonna be
yeah.
it's gonna be terrible. It's
Uh-huh.
gonna be bad, cheesy fun. But then I was surprised. Something happened. I don't know, 30 or 40 minutes into the movie, the pacing on the new film was so good.
yeah.
And the
Yeah.
characters just were so developed. And even though I still think that the original cast had more stars in it, I couldn't agree more with Brian. I mean, Denzel was the man. I mean, this dude was the silent. I mean, he was like he was channeling. I guess you would have to say he was channeling like like the solo cowboy that's out there on his own, and
Mm-hmm.
you think all he cares about is himself until somebody asks him for help, and then you
Yeah.
realize how big his heart is. And yeah, he had a revenge motif. You know, he
Oh
had a
yeah,
he
I
had
was
a
gonna say, yeah, I'll challenge you on that one. Yeah, as soon as he heard the name, he was like,
Hmm?
I'm on board. Definitely
yeah.
different from Yul Brynner.
Yeah, Yul Brynner was just kind of milk toast, and actually, it was kind of funny because I guess he's Russian, but I kept hearing Schwarzenegger, and I'm like,
Yeah.
"Fucking hey, this am I
Dude,
watching the?"
dude, you're still on my thunder. Oh shit, I was just gonna bring up
Okay,
the Arnold
I'll be quiet.
Schwarzenegger versus him. Oh
No,
man.
we'll move on. I'm going with Denzel. So, pow,
All
one
right,
shot, one more shot for Denzel.
ready. Gene.
Okay, I agree with both Brian and Lance on this.
Mhm.
I think the problem with Yul Brenner is every time I look at him, I think of either Westworld, like you said, or where he played a robot,
Right.
or the King and I.
Oh,
I picture
Ah.
him like
I
the
hate
way he stands, the way he walks, everything. I like his swagger, and I like him in those movies. But like you said about the accent too, that is one thing that did bother me about his character was his
Yeah.
Russian, slight Russian accent. But Denzel Washington, on the other hand, did kill this role. It's not as good as he did, in my opinion, in Training Day
Right.
by Anton
Mhm.
Fuqua. But yeah, he was a lot better. Yeah, Fuqua. He was a lot better than Yul Brenner, in my opinion,
All
at this
right,
character.
another one for 2016. Lance, you brought up Arnold Schwarzenegger, and that's who Yul Brynner reminds me completely of. You can see he tries so hard to be the actor, to be you can see he really wants to be a good actor, and you can see that in Arnold Schwarzenegger and everything he does. Right? He has these one-liners. I don't like Yul Brynner. I didn't really like him in The King and I. Of course, he was playing a part that was meant for the stage, like he was on Broadway
Right.
or something. That's kind of he was playing it. There's something about Yul Brynner that rubs me the wrong way. I don't think he's that great of an actor as much as he tries. But guys, I absolutely loved him in this movie. I thought he was perfect for the role. The accent didn't bother me as much. He
Right.
did play it that cool, that like I'm gonna help this community. I think he did that a little bit better, not
Okay.
better, but
Cool.
more motive than Denzel Washington, because Denzel Washington
Yeah.
clearly had a revenge fact, and I
Oh,
Yeah.
don't
It
think he
was.
would have
absolutely.
helped without the revenge. So the character of it, but this one's tough for me. This one is you can't go up against if you're going to go up against Denzel, you're automatically going to lose. You know, you're just going to do it. It's like going up against Joe Montana and his 49ers. You know, you're not going to win when you go into the
Mhm.
Super Bowl with them. Um, I have to agree with you guys by a slight margin because
Oh, we got you.
but
We won you over. It's already a
but
victory.
but here's the
Denzel.
thing. Here's the thing. Denzel is awesome in everything he does. He's gonna
Right.
kill Yul Brynner in any scene, in any kind of role that you're gonna do. It's an automatic landslide. I really like Yul Brynner in this so much that I think he was up to par with Denzel, but it's Denzel Washington, and he's always gonna win. So that's that's a Denzel for me. So far, the shootout is we got four shots for the 2016 and zero for 1960. Let's move on to the bad guy. And Lance, let's start with you.
Well, I really wanted to. Okay, so I love the Three Amigos. It's a great movie, and
Now,
I mean, it's so obvious.
which is a spoof of this of yeah, of course.
Absolutely. I really wanted to go with the original, man, because like I said, I'd seen it several times, but God, I gotta say the new movie and Peters and when Sarsgaard came out, I'm like, I know that guy, but who is that? I haven't seen him in anything in a little bit, but he's so slimy. He's so
Yo,
Oh yeah,
sleazy.
yeah.
It's like, oh, you know what? He reminded me of Hearst in Deadwood. It's like just this sleazy, greedy fuck, or steal your milkshake. What? I drink your milkshake. What movie am I talking about?
Oh yeah.
Um,
There will be blood.
yeah.
Absolutely,
oh
yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah. Daniel Day
Same,
Lewis, yeah, yeah.
same character, but Skarsgård played it so well, and I gotta say, I give the edge to the new one.
Well, another shot, Brian.
I'm gonna have to agree with Lance. Peter Sarsgaard, he's such a smarmy, slimy little fuck, man. Just everything I see him in, he plays that role so well.
He does.
And I mean, Lance, you brought it up earlier. I mean, he's within 5 minutes of the movie, he's murdering people in church,
Yep.
and
All over the
basically,
top, right?
yeah, I'm gonna buy your property for next to nothing, or you can
Mhm.
die.
I
And
drink your milkshake.
yeah, even in that final
My
battle,
straw
he's
reaches
just
over here.
even in that final battles, he's just sitting there smoking his little cigarette, and just has that look. And every time the camera like goes to his face, I want to punch his face every time.
Every time. I
So
like how he says he does a lot of hard work, right?
yeah,
And all the hard work he does is his money. Everybody else does it.
yeah. So I can't even really say the other the what was his name in the original, the villain.
Oh,
Calvera.
Calvera, yeah, good call.
I don't even remember anything even remotely bad that he did compared to
Yeah,
Sarsgaard. So I'm gonna have to go
true.
with him.
All right, Gene.
Okay, I agree with both of them again. I I think Sarsgaard, like I said earlier, I think he might be method too, because if you looked in his
Mhm.
eyes during those
Yeah.
scenes, he had tears almost in his eyes as he was talking and stuff. He was so passionate. His character, yeah, he was incredible in that role. That's the type of role I always wanted to play when I was acting and stuff,
Right?
but I never really got to unless it was a comedic type.
Mm.
But Eli Wallach, I thought he was okay, but I thought it's odd how they had him playing a Mexican too. So
Yeah, it was
It's
Hollywood
it,
in,
it's
in
it's
1960.
it's Hollywood 1960, Gene. That's
yeah,
yeah, you have to.
I mean, what I don't even know what nationality he is, but
I'm
he's not
sure he's
Mexican.
Jewish.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Well,
Eli, yeah,
I know the village elder. He's played by a Russian guy.
Oh no.
Wow.
yeah, I saw that. Vladimir Sokolov.
Yeah,
Vladimir Putin. Ay, ay, ay.
Yeah, so I'm gonna have to say it's definitely Peter Sarsgaard.
All right. Now, all right, my turn. Eli Wallach did a fantastic job, by the way.
All right.
Um,
Nice. Good
Probably
call.
not. He wasn't as evil as Peter Skarsgård because he
No,
actually let the group go. But in a twist of things, what I think is he more evil or not? And then hear me out.
Mhm.
Skarsgård was like, "Here's $20. Get the fuck out of town."
True. True.
Eli Wallach was like, "You guys aren't going anywhere. This town is
Oh,
mine.
yeah. Yeah.
You were mine." And he let those guys go because he wants to keep those people there with him. Those people belong to him. Skarsgård didn't give a shit about these people. He just wanted the land and all that. So does that
well,
make Eli Wallach a little bit more twisted in it?
makes
Because
him a nice guy.
it kind of, but he wanted to keep those people for himself. He basically owned them.
Yeah, but
And
yeah, Sarsgaard though. I mean, when even the people that they killed, he told the sheriff leave the bodies there
oh
for a
yeah,
few
that was just
days.
cruel.
Let them think about it.
yeah,
Now, is it me or he seems like he was high on something?
Oh
Always
yeah,
high on something. Now
yeah,
they
That was
never showed
probably
him like if he was
actually
like sniffing or anything, but it's clear that he was not all there. Um,
that's the
Opium,
method acting.
yeah.
cocaine, whatever it was. But as much as I liked E.Y. Wallach in this, you guys are right. Skarsgård
Oh,
just fucking he was just too perfect. Now
this is
we've seen this
this is a
character.
bloodbath,
Yes, we've seen this character 100 times in the movie
right?
in West 100 times, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
There's only a few people who actually do it so well, and like Brian said, he wanted to punch him in the face. 20
Yep.
seconds of seeing this guy, yeah, you cannot not give it to Skarsgård. So that's a wow, wow.
Wow.
All right,
Not
so
much of
we'll
a shootout, is it?
no, it's a
No.
bloodbath. All right, let's move on to the last bit. Gene, let's hear you first. Movie as a whole.
Movie as a whole, 2016.
Give me some.
Yeah, they
Okay, he shot
the
his shot,
first
It's a
but go ahead
bloodbath.
and give us some highlights.
yeah, the first one, 1960,
Uh,
was it dragged out too much for me. It took a
There you
long
go.
time for me to get interested in this movie. I had to watch it in like 2 or 3 different sittings.
Hmm.
And the 2016 I watched all at once. I liked it so much better. I was more interested in it. It
Yeah.
the 1960 version just dragged out too much, and the love story, I didn't like that.
Tacked on, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Brian.
I'm gonna have to go with the 2016.
Holy shit.
I agree. I said it before. The original was a first time watch. I do respect it. It had a lot of great actors in it. When we get, if
Yeah.
you guys want to talk like Death Wish, I'm a big Charles Bronson guy.
Hmm.
But the new one, just the cast was phenomenal. Everybody, you touched on everybody's personality, and everybody was so likable. Peter Sarsgaard, we just got done talking about him.
Hmm.
Great villain. One of the main things I liked about the new one, how diverse the cast was, and
Yes, definitely.
it was just action nonstop. I never felt like there was a lull throughout the movie, and I'm gonna have to go with the 2016.
Yeah.
Nice. Nice. Lance?
I couldn't agree more. I mean, that's the thing I noticed about. All right, so this was my experience with the 2016. Like I said, I started out and I'm like, okay, this is gonna be cheesy and terrible, and I'm gonna love it because it's cheesy and terrible. Like I said, like a Fast and Furious or something like that, or the Expendables or what have you.
Hmm.
But I gotta tell you, we started watching the movie, and then AJ watched it with me, and she's like, "Hold on, can you pause it for a sec? I got to get some water." And I'm like, "All right, I'll pause it." But this is going to be a long night because I knew it was a 2 hour and 12-minute movie,
Oh,
and I
yeah.
thought, well, we're only like 10 minutes in, so when I hit pause, we got a lot more time to go after this. And I hit pause, and we're half an hour into the movie, and I'm like, "What? This movie is so incredibly well paced." And I got to tell you, I really thought. I mean, this is two knockdown cast big time because
Hmm.
everybody in the original film has gone on to great movies, and everyone in this film though just worked together better as a team, more believable for me. In the original movie, there was the first attack of the village, and then you had that lull time, that quiet time.
Yeah.
And you guys were talking about the character that was like having the bad dreams and shit and woke
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
I thought maybe they'd slipped him some peyote or something the way he was acting.
It was kind of like out of nowhere, right?
Am I
There was
right, guys?
there was no
Yeah.
lead up to it, and then there was no
No.
follow up to it. Yeah, definitely. It was
It
like
was
right in the
just
middle of nowhere.
from nothing to absolute crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with you on that.
Yeah, no, this new film, I got to give it to Fuqua, and he's worked quite a bit with David Ayers, right?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
did Suicide Squad was horrible,
Oh,
Ugh.
but
yes, sir.
most of David Ayers' other films were really good. He does a lot of like gritty Los Angeles cop type stuff,
Hmm.
and Fuqua knocked it out of the park. This was a really great movie. Fuqua! I'm shocked with how much I enjoyed this
Hmm.
remake. How fast it went by. It felt like an hour and a half movie. No shit, no lie. It
Yeah.
really felt like an hour and a
Yeah, it
half.
went a lot quicker.
And the 1961 felt like 3.5 hours. Like
Hmm.
we should have had two intermissions with popcorn, girls with cigarettes walking around, everything. And then I I am so embarrassed to say it because Gene, me and you are like the elders of the group here, but
Hmm.
we got to admit it. The young kid knocked it out of the park. Am I right?
Which one?
Well,
Fuqua.
Oh yeah, yeah,
me and Brian are on
absolutely.
pace on that one.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
And we
right.
Sorry.
haven't said anything yet about Chris Pratt. I thought he did pretty damn good in this movie too.
Yeah, this is one of his best roles.
That
Eh,
He was so terrible in the Jurassic Park movies, but he was so good in this.
yeah,
I mean, I don't think he was terrible in the movies. I think the movie was terrible, but
Hmm.
he's very, like I said, he has charisma.
He
Hmm.
does.
yep.
So, and I know a lot of people kind of say some people say he's kind of one note in movies, but he's entertaining
Mm,
to me.
I would
Yeah,
agree with
fair
that
enough.
because there's definitely a lot of similarities between Star-Lord and his character. But what you said is he has charisma. Now, he may be kind of that one note, and he may kind of do that same style of a character, multiple times, but it fucking works.
Yeah,
It
he
works. You
showed.
love him so much, it works.
Yeah, he showed a little range in Lance. What was that movie? Passengers.
Oh
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah,
where he was
yeah.
on the
You're right.
spaceship.
Yep.
Yeah,
Good
because
call.
the
Good call.
scenes where he was by himself, I thought he showed a little bit more than what we usually expect from him. So
Mm-hmm.
All right. My turn to get into it, huh? All right. I love the 1960 version, man. I really do. One thing that I did like over the 60 over the 16, your two main characters, you had Yul Brynner and you had Steve McQueen. These guys did not like each other on set. You couldn't tell
At
them.
all.
I thought
No,
they had a great dynamic between the two.
that's true.
Most of it was like
Right.
silent consent. He didn't have to speak a lot to each other. They just kind of had to give that nod. And how they met in the beginning, fuck, man, that was a fantastic scene. He's like, yeah, shit, I'll do it. Denzel and Chris
Cool.
Pratt kind of met the same way. When Denzel was having an issue, one guy was going to pull a gun. Chris Pratt was like, I don't think so. Pulled his
Right.
gun. Kind of a mirror of how the first two met. The dynamic between McQueen and Yul Brynner, I thought, was a lot better than Chris Pratt and Denzel. Although great characters on their own, everybody did great. It's just the connection between the two was a little bit better. 60 had a couple of the greatest lines of all time. Um, one of them, Yul Brynner, was when they were on their wagons. They got the hearse and all that. And he was like, "Did you sign up for this or something?" And he goes, "No, I got nominated really good." So I just thought that I love that fucking line. I mean,
Very
I
nice.
laughed so hard. And then what was McQueen's? We deal in lead.
Oh
That
yes, I
Yes.
love
Mhm.
that.
one of the best lines of all fucking time.
Yeah, the
Lance and I,
original did have some better lines.
it did. Lance and I are big Stephen King fans. That is a major line. It's
Absolutely.
used quite a lot in the Dark Tower books.
The real
That
Dark Tower, not the movie.
Yeah, fuck the movie. Fuck it in its ass. Twice. But yeah, we deal in lead. I loved it. The shootout scenes. Now, granted, it's everybody dies the same way. You get shot, you throw your hands up.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
You just like you're being tickled. You just throw your hands up. Oh, I'm tickled, and I'm gonna fall over. Uh, you don't see any blood until after the fact. Granted, it's a product of its time. The newer movie's gonna have more blood action scenes,
Oh
but
yeah.
the shootout was better paced in the new movie. The
Mhm.
the fight scenes
I
were
agree.
better. It was just what I like also about the movie is the two main characters. Only one of them survived.
Yeah, that was different.
It was definitely different in the original. I hated the Chico character. I hated him as much as I hate the and you're supposed to hate Skarsgård, right? You're
Oh
meant to
yeah,
Mhm.
sure, sure.
as much as you're meant to hate I really hated the Chico character. I know
No.
I did.
He's very unlikable.
He is unlikable. He's just, oh no, you are not rebel without a cause. Stop.
He's the
That's
I
gentleman
didn't.
James Dean, man. Come on.
Yeah, I didn't care
it's
for him either. And in fact, I thought at that one scene he was actually going to be a traitor, but they turned that around. You know what I'm talking about?
yes,
Uh,
he really infiltrated them when he just.
Yes.
I mean,
I
he had a lot of
thought at
gusto,
first,
but yeah.
yeah, I thought at first, oh, he's a scumbag, and then pretty quickly you find out, no, he's not.
Hmm.
Yeah,
But yeah,
Charles.
I didn't like his character. He was a punk.
Yeah. So here's the thing: you like most of the characters of the original. Some of them, there's not enough there. Like Robert
True.
Vaughn, there just wasn't enough there to either like him or dislike him. He had one scene where he had the dream, but it was so fucking misplaced. I don't know if there were some scenes that were prior to that or after that were cut out that should have led up to it or finished it off. But like you guys were saying, the new movie, every character is completely likable. I mean, you're invested into every one of them. So it's yeah, this is a complete fucking bloodbath because 2016 for me. I don't think
Wow.
these guys got one
Wow.
fucking shot.
I've never seen such a one-sided gunfight in my life.
Against a great movie though. I mean,
And it's a
seriously,
classic,
it is. I mean, if you put this up to any other classics within the time frame, this is
right?
going to have a pretty good shot at winning, right?
Right.
Mhm.
I mean, you can put this up to, I don't want to say all three, or at least any Clint Eastwood movie, and I think it can go toe to toe. You know, with some of them, not all of them, but with some of them. But yeah, this is a
Yeah,
blood. I didn't expect
that's
this
saying
one.
a lot, man.
Yeah, I didn't.
In the
Wow.
2016 version, I really liked the Haley Bennett character too
Oh,
of
she was
Emma
Right.
Collins.
hell, wasn't she?
She's really good. She was really good.
Something about redheads.
And she got the final kill.
Mhm.
She
Yep.
did get the final kill. All right. Okay. Any other notes? Any other final thoughts?
Two good movies.
Yeah,
Thanks
they
for
were
picking
both
them.
good.
Mhm.
All right. Well, guys, that's it. Lance, did you want to add anything?
No, man. Thanks for inviting us on again.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Well, we got later in, is it May? We have Texas Frightmare coming up, and I am actually going to sit down and be able to meet Brian, guys. I'm going to hear
Nice.
this smooth, sexy voice live in person. You guys don't know. You guys don't understand what that's going to mean to me. I'm going to be able to meet Phil. We're going to meet as Nez going, right?
Oh yeah. Nez will
Oh
be there.
yeah, man! I don't think I've ever talked to the guy. We're gonna be I'll be able to see Patrick again. We'll meet Mel. Oh, it's gonna be awesome, guys! I can't wait to go to Texas Frightmare with you guys and hang out. And hopefully, the Horror Return is gonna have some nice treats for the fans once we get there and do some good, cool things.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, if we can ever
Mhm.
get this new artwork, we're gonna have
Oh yeah,
we're gonna have some new
The
T-shirts.
longest contest ever.
ever,
Definitely gonna have some
ever.
koozies.
All right. Well, everybody, thanks for listening. Hope you enjoy the show. Please give some feedback on the Horror Returns Facebook.
Yeah.
Brian and I are working out putting together the saddle up, so that should be coming out pretty soon. But
Nice.
go ahead and go to the Facebook, leave some feedback, or you can always go to the Horror Returns at gmail.com. And Gene, until next time.
I'll be your Huckleberry.
You got it.
Thank you for watching. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and when you subscribe, tap that bell icon so you can be notified every time I upload a new video. See you next time. Yeah!